Rumor has it that Apple's going to release a 9.7-inch iPad Pro rather than an iPad Air 3, but the question is that something that we really need, and is that something that you would buy? But first, coffee. Okay, so I've just gone to turn on the water so that we have some hot water for this coffee, and what I'm holding now is my 9.7-inch iPad Air 2, not an iPad Air 3, and an iPad Pro. And you can see just how big they are, how big the size difference is. They are massively different in size. I was really interested to see that Apple was going to release a 9.7-inch iPad Pro, which may just sound like a naming convention, but the only reason I can think that they would do that would be if Air and iPad Pro are going to always continue at the same rate. They're always going to make a new Air and a new Pro. I can see it being just like the MacBook and the MacBook Pro. One will be, you know, an iPad Air 3, and one will be exactly the same but also use the pen. And that's going to be really important for all of these precision applications and design things and art things that everyone's using the Apple Pencil for, which I can't find it. Sometimes I lose it. My Apple Pencil right here. Kettle's starting to make a strange noise. Today's coffee is Guatemala Antigua, so that you have a nice look at the beans here. This is done by like an independent guy who lives pretty near me. He roasts these beans and he gets them all imported from wherever they're from. Something really nice about these beans is that very few of them are have exploded or rotted or broken. He picks all the bad ones out before he roasts them. So this is a typical handful of beans, and you can see that in general there are almost none that look like the broken Dotoru beans that I had before. Smells really nice too. Figured out what that strange sound is. I thought it was the kettle. It's like someone is drilling something outside. Who knows what they're doing. I've just got a new product. This is made by UCC, which is quite a common brand in Japan, and it's a special measuring spoon. And on the inside is this really rather lovely gold spoon with a, I don't know if that's really necessary, but it does make you feel a little bit more rich. Even if you're having like super cheap coffee, I think having a spoon that looks like this is just gonna make you feel that bit more posh, that bit more lush. UCC coffee. Let's get a spoonful of this coffee, which is roughly 10 grams. If I have it like this, it's about 10 grams. And if I can get it like a whole like heaped spoonful, it's technically 12 grams apparently. Beans going in now. Let's have 10 grams of that coffee. Actually, I'm going to have like 15 grams. I tend to make large cups of coffee, so let's have about 15 grams this time. Let's grind. So really interested to see whether people are going to buy into this whole iPad Air and iPad Pro thing. Actually, I don't even know. They might not call it iPad Pro, they might just call it iPad Air 3 with stylus. But then I think if they did that, people would start to expect that the Apple Pencil is going to work with, you know, all iPads, iPods, iPhones, iPad minis. And by using the iPad Pro label, they can get away from people saying like, hey, my iPad mini should have a pen, and my phone should have a pen, and everything should have a pencil. So I think using the iPad Pro name is actually very clever. Later on I want to talk about, you know, which one, you know, whether I've been really enjoying iPad Pro. Spoiler alert, I do really like the iPad Pro, but I'd like to talk about the different types of places where I use it, the different situations where I've found it useful. I mean, essentially, I bought an original iPad. I bought the iPad 1, you know, the day that it came out in Europe. And obviously it didn't look quite as thin as this, but it was the same size. And I just thought this would be perfect for drawing. Just sketching ideas for comics and that sort of thing. But the thing is, obviously, if you were like me 5 years ago, you picked up an iPad 1 and discovered it's terrible for drawing. Actually, there were no good styluses, and good styluses weren't released until like 3 or 4 years later. It's only been recently that we've had good ones like Pencil by, I think they're called 53. Okay, the coffee is ground. Unbelievable, someone has chosen right now to start drilling into their house. This always happens. It's like, I want to make a YouTube video, but then the whole world decides to start making noise at the exact moment that you start making the video. Anyway, let's put this coffee in here. Let's have a little sniff. Oh, it smells even better after you've ground it. I forgot the water. I need to go and get the water. So this has often been a mystery to me. I don't really know how hot the water is supposed to be. I go through all this trouble to hand drip my coffee. I don't actually know what the correct temperature for— oh, it's hot. I know that if it's too hot, you can scald the beans. So you don't want it boiling. In general, you know, you have really hot boiling water when you're making tea, but not when you make coffee. So let's talk about iPad Pro. I mean, it really is quite a large iPad, and if you've seen the episode that I made of what's in my bag, you'll see that I have a fairly nice bag for the iPad Pro. Works really well, it's the right size, but it was a little bit floppy, so I ended up getting a new bag, which I will show you in a future video. But this is the thing, iPad Pro is actually quite substantial. It's a large device, and you do really need to have a different kind of bag, or if you've got a rucksack is pretty good for the iPad Pro, but this is not purse material. If you've got like a small little man bag, this is not going to fit, and that is a real shame. So I guess what I'd really like to say is that with the Apple Pencil, I really love the 13-inch size of the iPad Pro. I just do not think I would have been happy. If iPad Pro had released as a 9.7-inch device, I'd have been a little disappointed, and there wouldn't have been a super reason to jump for it. I really loved that it was 13-inch, it's huge, and you know, really for a lot of amateur, just, you know, simple artwork that you're doing on your computer, or just logo design or anything, even professional work, to be quite honest, this 13-inch device is an excellent, to be honest, you can replace a Cintiq with this. I don't think I would draw a manga with it yet. I'm still, you know, experimenting, but it is super, super close to the kind of quality that you would need. And I think I just would have been a little disappointed if the original iPad Pro had been 9.7-inch and that a 13-inch one had never existed. So yeah, the size is a little bit too large for my liking. I do think that it should have been a smaller device to be more portable. And I think that if a 9.7-inch device does come out, it will be way, way more popular than this 13-inch version. But I'm just really, really grateful to Apple for making the 13-inch version for me, because it's what I wanted, and it's just it really is a very perfect drawing experience. What I really love about it is the fact that I can rest my hand on it and have quite a lot of space to draw. If you notice when I hold an iPad 9.7-inch device, once you've rested your hand on it, you've only really got about the space of an iPhone to draw on. And if you were to hold it sideways like this, yeah, you could get a bit more space, but then in order to draw in the middle, your palm is kind of not resting completely on the device. Whereas with the iPad Pro, now I should call it by the size. With the 13-inch iPad Pro, you can rest your hand completely on a massive part of the device, and you still have an entire, you know, 9.7-inch iPad's worth of space to draw on with the actual pencil. In addition, something that's been really nice for me is I've been drawing a lot in landscape, but with a portrait canvas. So I'll have the canvas here in the middle. In fact, I'll just show you. Okay, so for example, this is what I was drawing in a previous video that I can put the link somewhere that you can see, where I was showing how to ink using Procreate. And, you know, having this portrait thing like this worked fine because I was able to edit. I could have it anywhere I want, on the right side, on the left side. This is just the perfect example. If you were drawing and it had it all of your artwork here on the left, you could have your hand completely on this side and you've still got an entire iPad's worth of space to draw. That's why I love the 13-inch device. But I absolutely can see where a 9.7-inch device would be way more popular. Ah, I forgot my cup. I've made all this coffee, but I don't have a cup to drink it with. Okay, so whenever I make coffee, I tend to have this extra cup here. This is from Disney. It's a really lovely little cup. And I like to put this, I only use the cup to rest this on it so that it doesn't drip coffee everywhere. Alright, let's have a bit of this Guatemala Antigua in my cup. This is gonna be so good. Oops, spilling a bit of coffee everywhere. That's so good. By the way, thanks for all of your advice about how to make the series better, how to, you know, other things that I could incorporate. I'll definitely be trying tea in the future, and also someone who suggested having Vietnamese coffee beans. I will definitely be trying that in the future. Actually, when I went to Bali, I had a chance to try, I think it's like poo coffee. Like, they actually feed the coffee beans to these rats or whatever they are, monkeys. I can't remember what they are. And they eat the beans, and then like their stomach acid kind of removes the acidity from the beans, and then they kind of poo them back out, and then you drink them. So I've had poo coffee, and it tasted like It didn't really taste bad. It tasted really amazing. So that's the important stuff. Basically, an iPad Pro 9.7 inch would definitely be more popular than the 13 inch. I often wish that I had a smaller device so I don't have to bring out a larger bag with me. It's just I keep thinking about 6 years ago when they introduced iPad the first time, and the whole time we haven't had the pencil that we really wanted, the stylus we really wanted. And with the Apple Pencil, this 9.7 inch device deserves the pencil, and if it gets it and it's called iPad Pro 9.7, it will be amazing. And I love the idea that they could offer it like £100 cheaper for the iPad Air 3. That means people who just do not need the pencil can save money and not have to go for it. But I'm pretty sure that's how it will work. I feel like the pricing structure at Apple always seems to be like base model, £100 extra for the cellular 3G, and then £100 extra for the pencil, you know, stuff like that. So although I'm almost certain that I will buy one, I'm pretty sure that my favorite will still be this larger one, just because of the ability to just draw on this massive screen, even in landscape mode, and still have that full portrait screen to draw on. I think that's just lovely. So let's talk about apps. I've been using Notes and Procreate the most, and I also recently downloaded Graphic, which is by a company called Autodesk, who I think also makes Sketchbook Pro. And I used to use Sketchbook Pro a lot on other devices. I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 and a Samsung Galaxy 8, which are both, you know, an 8 and a 10-inch tablet. And they're good, but honestly, the pen experience is nothing. It's nowhere near as good as the iPad Pro. This is my Samsung Galaxy Note 8, and it comes with a stylus built in, like this, and you can also use the Wacom Feel stylus, which is it's an amazing stylus, but it works much better on Surface Pro. It doesn't work so well on the Galaxy Note 8, to be honest. So my advice, if you're looking for a tablet that you can sketch on, don't go for an 8-inch tablet. But yeah, getting back to apps, so I've been using Graphic. I've always hated Illustrator. I would open that program and I just had no idea what was going on, and I didn't bother to go through the tutorials and learn how to use it. I just couldn't believe how incredibly intuitive this app is to use. Like, you've got the layers, you've got all the different parts, you can switch them on and off. It's just really easy to, and everything that you think should work, works. You want to rotate something, it rotates. You want to make it bigger, smaller, skew it, perspective, anything you want to do, it just works. I'm sure that Illustrator is a much more powerful program, but I couldn't find anything that Graphic couldn't do, so I was really impressed. Obviously, you're very familiar with the stuff that I've been doing with Procreate, because I've just showed it to you, and I've got other videos showing you how to use Procreate, and the other one is Notes. So let's just be straight at the beginning of this. Notes has the best pencil of any app. Now, I know that everyone likes to talk about how great Procreate is, and I've downloaded loads of brushes, and I've used the brushes that are in Procreate, but I still cannot find a pencil which is as natural and easy to use as the pencil in Notes. So when it comes to putting ideas down on paper, coming up with new character designs, so when coming up with new character designs or ideas or just brainstorming things, I always go to Notes first. The only thing is that the eraser is terrible. It's a very digital eraser. Once it touches the screen, everything disappears, as opposed to Procreate, where you can make like a natural eraser, where, you know, you can erase lightly or you can erase heavily. On this app, the eraser is terrible. It's just like, once you touch it, it completely disappears, and it's just awful. So there's a forum on the Procreate website where people are, you know, putting on all sorts of brushes that they've created, and someone had made a forum about making the Apple Pencil from Notes. Sorry, making the pencil from Notes in Procreate, and I downloaded a few of those brushes, and there was one that came super close, but it doesn't have the shading when you turn the pencil on its side, and it doesn't get as thin. Like, the pencil in Notes gets really thin, which is so nice to have something so accurate. So I haven't made it as good as that one, but I've tweaked it so it's almost as good. And also, what's really nice is that now I can use Procreate, so I have the better erasing function, and also when I tilt it, like on the Apple Pencil, if you tilt tilt it like this much, it starts to shade. It's just like, don't shade. Like, can you see the shape of this pencil? It shouldn't shade until it actually gets to this angle, but the truth is it already shades when it's already about this angle. They just wanted the effect to be exaggerated for this first iteration of iPad Pro, but I'm hoping that in the future they'll tweak it so that you have to actually tilt the pencil properly to actually make it shade. Anyway, the coffee's done now, and so this has actually been a little bit longer of a discussion than I was expecting it to be. But essentially what I'd like to say is that yes, there is a rumor that Apple is going to make a 9.7-inch iPad Pro, and the reason I think that's great is that iPad Air will continue, hopefully, I'm hoping, iPad Air will continue as its own series, and that iPad Pro will just be the extra option for people who have a little more money, who want to spend on something that is a little more professional and able to do things a little more specialist. And I love that side of Apple, the side that, you know, really appeals to the Pro side. That's what MacBook Pro was all about. Mac Pro, MacBook Pro, these devices were able to do things that made you money and got you professional work. But yeah, I would just really want to say that for 3.5, almost 4 months of Apple Pencil and iPad Pro, I'm incredibly satisfied. I think this is the device that I have used every single day since it came out, and it's been really, really good to me. Battery life is stupendous, the drawing experience is unparalleled, and it's just so natural. Really, really love it. I honestly think that skill-wise, I think my art is also getting better. I mean, it's hard to look at your own work and say whether you're getting better, but if I'm trying to be as evaluative as possible, I think I definitely have improved just by having Apple Pencil, meaning that I can sketch, and not waste paper, and I feel no guilt about wasting paper. I can just make mistakes, and nothing is lost except a little bit of battery power. So what do you think? Do you think that Apple is actually going to release a 9.7-inch iPad Pro? And if they do you think it would be popular? And also, would you buy one? Are you interested in getting one for yourself? Or do you think even if this came out, you still want to save up money and go for the iPad Pro, the 13-inch version? Do let me know in the comments, and also if you have any more comments about this series while I'm making coffee, and there's anything you want to say, just put it in the comments. And if you like this video, of course, like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next NihongoGamer video. She's got magnets on her feet. First, new Nintendo 3DS game, Final Fantasy 15! Ah! Someone pick up the phone! How about you, Cloud? It's shopping time! So I let her go in front of me, and she ran into the shop and she took the only copy of this, and I thought, no! Here it comes! Ah! It's like the anime, but better! It doesn't say what this is, it's just a piece of plastic. I think maybe it is a Frisbee.